And welcome to the channel. This is a video in which we're going to discuss Shadow and Bone. As you guys might seen in my previous video, I had a 5-star prediction for this book, and it's time to finally discuss and talk about this book. I am not done with the book yet. I'm about 209 pages into the book. This book has been such a roller coaster of emotions because of one specific reason. It's a Netflix series as well. Obviously, we all know that movies adaptations and series adaptations from books are very different from the actual book story, but I was not expecting this book to be so different in the show from the book. In what way, you might say, if you have read it and watched? It's on the way that they have described our main character's personality. And the reason is that when we start, without getting into spoiler, when we start Shadow and Bone, we know about this girl named Alina, who she's an orphan, and her best friend Mao and her are currently on their way to the fold, which is like a creation of darkness all around one specific area to cross from one side of the country to the other. That's the best way I can explain it. They know that there's a lot of random and creepy creatures in that area. The fold is really dark, it's covered by darkness, and the only way to cross is very quiet, and you only use a certain amount of light that they do not detect. But if you end up doing any movement or any type of other light, like fire or like bright lights, they will either attack you or get away from it, depending on what type of light you have. So following her story, she's an orphan, and she's right now already a grown. She's part of the army, and she's a map maker. Pretty much in that time, whenever she had like the ability to draw, so they will name them like map makers, which wherever they will go, they will create like maps or landscaping of the area where they went. And that's pretty much her role. Best friend, he's pretty much a soldier, and that's pretty much their relationship they have. They grew up together in the same orphanage. They're very close to each other, and they had to cross the fold together. What we learn about this book and her personality is that she's very true to herself. She's very true to where she belongs, where she came from, and why she cares so much about him. Whether in the show, I don't know why I started reading and watching the show at the same time. I think I did this to myself. But she is so like, I'm okay with changes. I mean, I would protest a little bit in the beginning, but then after that, I'll just follow whatever you guys are saying. And to me, it was just like, that's not how she is at all. In the book, we see a person that is a lot more shy, a lot more, her morals, values are very strong, and she's like, what's going on? Like, when they finally discover her abilities, which I don't want to get into that, because if you have not read the book, that will be a spoiler. When they finally discover her abilities, she's so in shock. She's like, what? I had this power in me? Like, how is that even possible? And they're trying to like get her away from all the assassins who want to destroy her, and they want to train her into becoming, one of the Grishas, which is the people with powers. Now, during the time of her trying to discover this new power that she has, she's very skeptical about it. She's very scared. Like, it's the first time her discovering this power, like she didn't know she had. But in the show, she's pretty much like, oh, I have powers now, that's crazy. And then 2 minutes later, oh, look what I can do with my powers, I'm amazing. Like, to me, her personality in the show is so like quickly to not hold on to her roots, as in the book, it takes her a lot more time to adapt. I do understand they have to be different from each other, but this is just something I wanted to put it out there in regards to the book. Now, actually discussing the book is completely amazing. The fact that this book took me so long to read. I knew about it for a really long time. One of my best friends, she told me about it for a very, very long time. And she was telling me, just watch the show, I was like, you know what? I'm going to read the book and then I'm gonna watch the show. Obviously I didn't do that, but you know what happens. I started reading the book and I realized that this book has so much in common with the Shatter Me series, which is the book that I'm reading as well. I'm currently on book 3 of the Shadow Me series, which is Enlighten Me, which I have not purchased yet because I want to take a little break from the book. I feel like book 2 ended such in a full of emotions. There was so much going on that I needed a break from it. And as you know, I'm also reading the Lunar Chronicles, which is the longest series that I'm reading right now, and it's totally different from these books that I'm reading currently. So I needed a little break, so that's why I picked up Shadow and Bone. Will I finish the whole trilogy? Hopefully I will. Up to now, the prediction has been very good. I am going to give it 4.2 stars, and it's not even more than halfway of the book. But as so far, the storyline is just amazing. I love the relationship that's gonna be between her, the Darkling, which is the quote-unquote bad guy of the show and the book. Yeah, so I'm excited about continuing this book and actually finishing. About Crest, we're going to have a video coming up, but this is just an update on the book that I'm reading at the moment.